Well, welcome back, guys. That was quick, short tea break, and we're back in the build mode. So I'm going to crack on with the build. I'm going to do the fuselage and bits of the wings together concurrently. Hopefully that will speed things up. So without further ado, let's get on to the building board. Okay, so I've got my magnetic building board, which I'm going to use. I've got a paired sides of fuselage, not two left, two right, one of each. So I'm just marked on there where the glue's got to go. I'm using the glues of choice again for this build will be Gorilla Glue white for the PVA, Gorilla Glue brown for the expanding stuff, super glue I'll use a bit of it, not a lot. Superfatic I'll use as well. So these are going to go on there. So let's just smear a bit of the old glue. On here. The last build that I did was when it was a lot colder than this, so hopefully this the glue will go off quicker because it's a lot warmer, as you can see from what I'm wearing. Well, you can't see that I'm wearing shorts, you don't particularly want to see that, I can assure you, but I am wearing shorts, a t-shirt, whereas before I was wearing about 10 layers of clothing to keep out the cold, because it was cold earlier on this year. So just get this smoothed out. Doesn't matter if I go over the mark that I put on the fuselage. I just want to make sure that I've got enough on there. I'll do the same with this one. With this half. The brush is a good idea for putting it on in large areas like this. Certainly it's easier spreading it with a spatula or such like, rather than the spout straight out of the bottle. I find that takes forever. So doing it this way is a lot quicker. And again, I think I said in my Focke-Wulf series of videos that because this is a PVA glue, it can be activated with heat. So if it didn't stick initially, I can go with hot air, the iron, and activate it, and that will make sure it does stick in position. But hopefully I won't need that, because I'm going to put quite a bit of weight, pressure on this using my magnets. So on that goes. Make sure I line the ply up with the fuselage. There's a little notch in the back of the ply doubler there. Just got to make sure that lines up with the fuselage. And then I can put one of my weights there. Put some weights. When I say weights, magnetic force is applying the load, obviously. You don't need me to tell you that. Same with this side. The ply, to be fair, the ply is thin enough that you could push pins through it. But like I say, I've got my magnetic building board, which is does the job for me. That's fine, so I can now move this board to one side and then have a look at the fuselage crutch. So let's just move that onto this other table off camera. There we go. Right, so the fuselage crutch is next up. We have to get our formers. Apologies for doing this off camera. Here we go. So here are the formers. I'm not going to stick, at the moment anyway, I'm going to try and not stick F1 and F2 in place. And purely and simply because I want to be able to get at where the wing goes through former F3. I want to be able to drill the hole through for the dowel, and I want to have the wing obviously made for that. So if I can put the fuselage crutch together without putting the front formers in place, F1 and F2, it will be good. So let's have a look, see if I can do that now. So let's press these. Remember to keep these, very important, because they're going to be my standoff pieces for my motor. So don't lose those, whatever you do. So that's F2. Again, I don't want to fit that. I might dry fit it, but I don't want to physically stick it in place. F3, any good that ply? No, let's stick that on the floor. So we want all of these now. F2B, F5, F2A. Good bit of laser cutting. You haven't got to fight. You haven't got to fight it to get it out of the ply. F6, F8. F9, and be careful with F10 because that's quite a slim former there, and we don't want that to get damaged. So F1 that to one side. So if we start from the back, so F10 will fit in through the hole and then gets twisted round. Be careful as you do that, but gets twisted into position like so. Then working from the back, F9 will sit on top, push all the little holies out there. 9 will sit on the top. I'm just lining these up to make sure everything fits okay first of all. F8 will fit in there, and then F7 goes underneath. Again, push all these bits out. So F7 goes underneath there. Then we've got F6 and F5. So F6 and F5, let's just get my, so there's F5, fits in like that. F6 hasn't got a tongue in it, so that sits immediately behind that. So what I might do is actually glue those together, and then once they're dry, fit them to the crutch, just my way of doing it. So that's F6, F5. We've then got F4 and F4A. So again, got a similar situation, F4 and F4A there, where they sit on. So we've got F5 there and F5A, and then we've got F4 and F4A sitting like that, doubled up there. We'll stick those together. Sorry, F5, F6, F4 and F4A, like so. And then we've got, moving forward, we've got F2 here, which is going to fit again into the fuselage. It says me thinks. Sorry, oh, where's F3? F3, there's F3, that's the one I was looking for. That's F3, yeah. F3 fits on there, like that. And then F2, that's better, fits on like that. So I can leave F1 and F2 off and fit all the others in place. And then once I've done the wing, I can then drill the hole through F3. So the thing is, will I glue these all in place? I think logic says no, because you've got formers on the top, formers below. I think what I'll do is I'll fit the two underside formers first of all, which are F7 and F3. Fit those in place there, and leave those two to dry. And then once they've dried, I can then turn this round and then mount the other formers on top. Oh, it doesn't really matter which way round you do it, because you could put that down and then mount your F8, F6, F5, F4, F4A. You could mount those to start with. It's entirely up to you, but I think I'll start with the two underneath. So what I need to get is some squares. I've got here engineer's squares, and F7 is going to be stuck in there. The square behind it, and a square in front of it. That makes sure that's at right angles, and do exactly the same with my F3, which will be on there. Again, former in block in front, block behind, perfect square, and that gives me my fuselage. And I think that's what I'm going to do first of all. Okay, should be enough glue left in here. Only a little bit to put on here. So that's those. Okay, I'm now going to turn my attention to the wing and the trailing edge. Where I was talking about having the laminated trailing edges, I'm going to turn my attention to that. So I'll go off camera a moment and then come back on again to show that. Okay, so looking at the construction of the trailing edge assembly, so you're talking of the trailing edge and the aileron. You've got several pieces that make this up, and they're all got coded letters on them there, which in the instructions you can see there what they refer to. So the way that I started this off, I work from the bottom upwards. So I wanted an aileron bottom, and it's marked aileron bottom tip, ABT. You can see there, ABT. So I've put that on the work surface. Then the inboard is obviously the trailing edge. So that's the TB, and it says R, which means the root. So that goes to the root. So trailing edge bottom root. So I put that on the bench. So that's the underside, and it's then followed by a ply center core. So again, it's got aileron tip and it's got trailing root. So that would sit on top like that. And then we've got our 6mm balsa on top of that. So we've got an ACT, which is aileron core tip, which sits on there. And we've got trailing edge core, TCR, trailing edge core root. So that goes to the root side, like so. And then on top of that, we've got our top pieces. So we start off again with the aileron top tip, ATT. And obviously that'll sit on the edge closest to me. Line up the end. And then we've got the trailing edge top root, so TTR. So that sits like so. So that's how we laminate them up, so that it looks like, if you can see that there, that's what it looks like. So you've got a thin base of balsa, you've got your thin ply, and then two thicknesses of balsa on top. Now the plans, if I remember, I'm just going off camera a moment, the plans actually say 6mm top, 6mm core, ply, and 6mm underneath. Well, obviously we haven't got 6mm for underneath. It is what looks like a 3mm bit of balsa, but hey, that should be okay. So we're going to laminate those up. I'm going to laminate those all in one piece, and then obviously cut out the aileron later. And we would then, what I'm then planning to do is to join this to the wing, and then make the incision where you got the dihedral. Okay, so I'm going to put that over there, and I'm going to lay up the opposite side now, so I don't make any mistakes. Famous last words. So I want the bottom ABT, so that's the aileron bottom tip, So because that was the tip on that one, it's now going to be the tip here. We want the TBR, which is the trailing edge bottom root. So that would go there. We want the ply next. So tip and root. Like that. Then we've got our core piece here. Again, trailing edge core TCR, which goes on like that. And our outer piece, aileron there. And then we've got our top. And we've got our trailing edge. So that's the aileron piece, top, and the trailing edge. So just double checking to make sure I've not got the same. So I've got opposite hand, just turning that round. So you can see I've got opposite handed to that. There's the edge there, and so on. So I'm happy that's how they're going to go. So I can open them all up, apply glue, and stick them. But first of all, before I do that, I'm going to put some greaseproof paper down on my board. Okay, so I've done the two sets now, laminated them using a brush, as I said earlier, and some Gorilla Glue white. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to apply pressure to those by putting a plank of wood on top. Why a plank of wood? Because I've got it to hand. I'll put that down like so, and then I've got batteries. Like that, and another one here, like so. That'll keep pressure on that, and that'll dry overnight. So I've got my fuse sides drying to the side here. I've got the formers drying in the fuselage over on the other workbench. Got the tail trailing edges done. You've got to do the same thing, similar thing with the wing leading edge. You've got a couple of pieces each for the wing leading edge, but I'll probably do that later on this evening. I just wanted to get that trailing edge one out of the way. Well guys, that was the first of the real build videos. The first one obviously an unboxing. Only some small bits, but at least I've got started. The fuselage sides, laminated those with the doublers. Laminated the trailing edge for the wing, which is good. I'll do the leading edge tomorrow. I'll stick the other formers onto the crutch tomorrow as well. So we're getting well on the way. Means that I can work in parallel on the wing and the fuselage at the same time. Anyway, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Please like the video, obviously, if you like it, down below. Put any comments down below and I'll get back to you when I can. Anyway, thanks for watching guys. See you again soon. Cheers.